Judy, I'm really looking forward to seeing you this December 2025 for your session on, the master practitioner.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of questions because part of this master practitioner is saying, how do you become excellent at NLP? And who is a better model that I can think of other than you? So I mean, we've talked about this before, but if you were to sort of give five or six things from a kind of NLP modeling perspective, what was it that enabled you to create or co-create six-step reframing? I mean, what was it that happened there and then? And I think we'd like to cover that in much more detail next December, but maybe just give us a little, I don't know, soupçon, a little taste of what it was to.
Well, I mean, I think it got created out of sort of necessity. So, as many things can be. So, John and I were together, John Grinder and I, we both have shared skills in NLP, what they were at that time, which was kind of the early days. We were being invited to go to some of the hospitals where they were dealing with people with some serious sort of mental health issues as an opportunity to apply some of what we learned. And we were training all the time. It was a little bit like being Willie Nelson on the road again, a different little town every night. It seemed like every day we were on a plane or somewhere training again. And we both got ill, just got a really horrible, horrible cold, which, was progressing, and exhausted and burned out probably physically at the time. And we ended up in I can't remember if it was Seattle or no, it was Canada, in Vancouver, at a hospital. I believe it was a hospital in Vancouver, pretty sure. And it was the night before we had traveled. We were both sick and we're going, I don't know. I was going, I don't know if I can pull this tomorrow. I just don't know that I'm going to be healthy enough to do it. I feel really sick. John also felt bad. We had a shot of whiskey, thinking, this will kill some of that shit, some of that stuff. It'll kill some of that stuff. But we talked about going, look, obviously there's a positive intention in being not well. We're not well, and it's trying to alert us to the fact that we're going to have to take steps in our own behalf and take care of our health. And so, and we know we have to get through tomorrow. How are we going to do that? And it was like, okay, so are there 3 things or 4 things or some things that we could do in order to kind of get through tomorrow and also keep that promise to ourselves at the level of intention of, doing better in terms of taking care of ourselves. So that was the context in my memory. Yeah.
I mean, if I can just share back a couple of the things just in the past few seconds you did, that you kind of gestured about this being sort of, this intention. You also kind of gestured backwards with time, but also there was a sort of shorter time frame of tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it felt like there was that, and you'd also had these very skills of, modeling Milton Erickson and so forth. But somehow, so that was that. I mean, at the moment, if you kind of were in that hotel room right now in Seattle, how did you suddenly say, well, how do we bring this all together into this incredible six-step process, which is, in some sense, is the foundational NLP hypnotic technique? I mean, it's quite.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, certainly, in a context where the body is, wanting to kind of let go and relax and go to sleep, already kind of maybe perhaps in a state of just, a state that's going to support that connectedness to the larger system. You're trying to be aware of all the signals you're getting. Can't, my fever, and going, okay, how am I going to respond to this in a positive way? What can I do now? What are some choices I can do to take care of myself? And, that requires starting to think about in a creative way. Well, what can I do? What can I do? And starting to create. some possibilities and noticing. So for example, myself, I went, if I have any opportunity tomorrow, whether it's lunch, whether it's at a break, I'll take a nap.
Okay.
If I have to crawl under a table, I will do that. I can make that happen. Okay, I got one choice, and I'll honor it. So
But there were
it's
promises to yourself, you said earlier.
yeah.
I mean, the thing is that, I mean, this is a taster. I'm sorry to sort of dangle this to the people who are watching this,
That's
but
okay.
we're going to, I think, as a team, and is to model you, Judy, and maybe you'll be able to sort of have a sense of. There's quite a lot already that we could take from what you've said of how this process kind of emerged.
Yeah.
Um, Shots of whiskey, climbing under the table for a nap. But you said something about promises to yourself, which is a beautiful saying, and
Yeah.
in some senses that to me is almost at the heart of it. Is if you honour a promise to yourself, then your unconscious will help you get through the day.
Well, I think that's putting the tracks in the snow, so you go, wow, that was interesting that I could think about where I was in that process just as a human being laying there just trying to take care of myself, right? So I don't feel good, I'm going to assume that that's a positive signal. I'm not going to be mad at myself for feeling bad, feeling ill, right? I'm going to take that as a positive signal. What can I do about that? Because I have a promise to the outside world tomorrow, but I have to also have promises to myself in order to do that well and honor both. And I think that's kind of, you know,
So
another
there's
way.
quite a lot of kind of beliefs and values there in a sense, but
Yeah,
and also vision or mission or whatever. There's something about, but you still also wanted to sort of do that and look after yourselves. And
yeah,
um,
yeah.
I sometimes kid and say, Judy, that part of the six-step reframing is more than just a process that everyone knows in NLP, but it's also in a way part of your energy and longevity in the field is how do we preserve our energy. I think there's a lot to learn here. And so that's why, but you're not going to learn it all today. You have to sign up, you see.
That's right. That's right. And please come and join us because it's going to be a hoot of a program. I'll tell you that. We were figuring it's about over 100 years of combined experience in NLP and this with you and Judith and myself.
True. We've got a little bit of niche as well, so we'll have,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, that would be awesome. That would be awesome.